Good evening and thanks for joining us. We begin tonight with an update on the situation in Attawapiskat. It's been more than a year since the leadership there declared a state of emergency over living conditions on the reserve. Then yesterday, an independent audit raised serious questions about how millions in federal funding was spent on the reserve. So we sent our reporter, Jen Tryon, who was in Attawapiskat about a year ago, back to the Northern Ontario Reserve to talk to residents. She didn't get very far, though. Within minutes of arriving and trying to find the acting chief, she was threatened with arrest.
You're asked to leave the community and you'll be charged with breach of peace. Please ask you to leave.
But since when do you need consent to go and interview people?
And with that, Jen and her cameraman were told to load up their gear, and they were escorted by the band police to the airport. Jen Tryon is now in Timmins, Ontario. Jen, you obviously weren't welcome in Attawapiskat. How fast did all this happen? Did you get a chance to speak to any residents?
Yeah, we spoke to residents on the plane in the airport. We told them we were there to talk about what Theresa Spence was doing in Ottawa, to get their reaction about the inroads she'd been making. And people were willing to talk about the audit. They wanted to show examples about where the money was actually being spent. Now, it didn't take very long between the time we landed in Attawapiskat for us to go to the band council office, try to tell them that we were there, and then to make our way to the hotel before the acting chief was on our hotel door saying that we weren't welcome and that we had to leave or she was going to call the police.
And when you challenged them on why they were asking you to leave, what was the response?
Well, I said, what law are we breaking? We're not disturbing the police. All we've done is check into the hotel. And they said, you'll be arrested for disturbing the peace and for trespassing, that this is private land and that we weren't welcome in the community.
And do you know, Jen, who gave those orders for you to leave?
Well, we pressed on a little further and I asked eventually, did Theresa Spence herself call you and tell you that the media had to leave, that we had to leave? And the acting chief said yes, that Theresa had called her and told her to ask us to leave.
And then you were escorted to the airport, I understand.
Yeah, the police stayed with us the entire time. We packed back up our bags. We were escorted into the back of the police cruiser and escorted to the airport, where police stayed right with us virtually the entire time until we got on the plane. I asked him, are you staying with us the whole time? And he said yes, to ensure that you leave.
And Jen, just to be clear, you hadn't actually shot anything on the reserve yet. You hadn't done any interviews. You weren't, in that sense, trespassing or breaching the peace in any way.
No, we hadn't rolled a single frame of video until we knew that the police were going to be called on us. And then, of course, we did start rolling simply to document what was happening to us there.
All right, Jen Tryon now in Timmins, Ontario. Thank you, Jen. Well, Chief Spence may still be calling the shots in Attawapiskat, but tonight she remains camped out on an island near Parliament Hill in Ottawa. She's in the midst of a liquids-only hunger strike there. And this afternoon, a Global News cameraman and producer went to ask Chief Spence why she had ordered Jen Tryon off the reserve.
So we just have a question for Danny or Chief Spence.
There were no answers. Spence has been on the island for nearly a month now, demanding a meeting with the Prime Minister. She says she will attend a First Nations meeting with him on Friday.